And when we talk about literacy, we're talking about reading and writing. How do we ensure that people read more? But it is more concerning in this ICT age. Uh, if you go online, you see several people opening TikTok accounts, wanting to make money, and several things happening. That it seems as if we are placing now less importance on reading and more importance on content creation. I'm not condemning it, but it's wonderful. But how do we balance it? How do we ensure that our young persons, especially those that are still in the school age, read as they should, learn as they should, and write as they should? And who is better to discuss that than someone who is in the system already, an educationist, school principal, and the principal of Capital City Secondary School, OKA. We call her, or not just that we call her, she is the Diamonds principal because she's an award-winning principal who has taken our students across the globe to win awards on debate from China to different parts of the world. The last time she was in Malaysia. So she's here this morning to discuss this very important topic with us because she's informed, she has worked with children, with students, and she's better equipped to discuss this topic. Good morning and welcome to the Weekend Show this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah,
it's always an interesting time having you on the program because, like I did said in my introduction, you are well versed when it comes to working with children. Beyond the routine of teaching and being a principal, you've groomed young people who went to different places across the globe to represent Anambra State, and not just represent Anambra State, but emerge the best in global competitions. Now, let's get into the topic. Improving reading culture in the ICT age. Let me even ask, where are we when it comes to reading amongst our young people?
The reading culture is actually dying among our youth because of the ICT, the phone that is now in existence. So for us to make them, since this is what you want, you want a phone, you want ICT, everything. Now, let's make it in such a way that that thing you are holding, we now use it to improve your reading habit.
Yes.
So that's why we are here to discuss how we're going to do it.
So now, talking about that, because most people always tell you, yes, ICT is wonderful because you can read whatever you want to read. Me, I also read. It gives me access to multiple books. But the truth is that most times there are distractions. Once you pick it up, there is a video coming up, there is this one coming up that you want to see. Is ICT a distraction to reading?
I wouldn't say it is a distraction to reading because you can still read through ICT.
Okay.
Yeah. When you have the analog type of library before now, the one we use, and then we now have the e-library. So you find out that the e-library will benefit the child, the ICT child, the child of today, more than that one because he would want to look at the screen in doing certain things. So you find out that the child, if you give him that aspect to the e-library, he perform better. So I wouldn't say that this one is better than this one or that this one. It's just balancing the equation and depends on the individual that is using it. Someone may be the type that will go to the library, stay for hours reading. Another may be the type that will not even want to sit down for 2 seconds and will stand up again. He will want to look at the stream. So that distraction, maybe, okay, when we're in school, some people will tell you that when there is music at the background, he will understand better.
Yeah.
Then some people, that music will be a distraction to them. So you find out that the child now, there are some people like that who can benefit better in this one than the other one. So what I'm saying in effect is that none of them, I would say, is the best. It depends on the individual that is reading. So to promote reading culture, there are strategies that can be followed in terms of that ICT.
Please tell us some of these strategies.
Okay, now you can have the author interaction. Where you now create maybe author of a particular book. you want to read. Maybe it is a set book for the secondary school, maybe their WAEC examination or whatever. So if that is a set book for them, you can interact with the author of the set book, where you must have gathered the people concerned, interested persons, students from all parts of the world, you know, to listen to the author directly. Now, what you do is you now organize maybe through Zoom or through Google Meet, you know, to interact with the author himself or herself. So in that case, when you must have packaged it, at a particular time, everybody will key in, and then you interact with the author, ask questions, the author will respond, you know, and by then you are learning more. I remember when we were in secondary school, we were reading Julius Caesar, and all these things fall apart. That was when we had the opportunity to watch Pete Edochie, you know, act the Okonkwo, the things fall apart. So that experience made us not to forget what we learned or what we read in that particular text, such that now any question that is asked, you can just from that experience.
The memory
will now remain there, because it is said that what I hear, I forget. What I see, I remember. And what I do, I know. So having seen, watched the actor do that, we're able to have it at the back of our mind. Anytime any question is asked, you know what to say. So the same way, if you interact with the author, these children will learn better in their own, in that particular text. And it will make them to read that text. Because after interacting, you now go back. As you're reading, you understand whatever you're reading.
Yes, exactly.
So another way to do that is by developing apps that will help you. That is developing reading apps. So if you have apps, then the students will download it and read through that app. So, and you have to integrate the reading into curriculum, because if, like what Governor Soludo is saying now, that he wants to digitalize secondary schools.
Yes.
Right. So if he does that, you find out that if we include reading in our curriculum, there will be a time when the students will now have reading as the subject at a particular time. So that will make the students to using their laptops, the gadgets already sent to the school by the governor. They will use it to to interact and then read. So if I know that someone will be more interested in that particular type of reading than just go to the library and read, bring the books and read. And you know, the advantage of this is that when you are reading through the net, you have the opportunity to increase the font size of your whatever you're reading, quite unlike the book. If it is in italics, you still have to read it like that. But using the other one, you can just adjust the font size and do whatever you want. So the advantage of our students using ICT, you know, that is to create that reading culture in them. It has its own advantages. This one has its own advantages. But days are gone when we are told that if you want to hide anything from the African man, you put it in print, because they don't like reading. But these days, if you put it on the net, many will read it, because everybody is going digital this time around. So that goes a long way to nullify the fact that reading culture is no longer there. It is there.
Okay.
It depends on the aspect.
You know, you raised a very important issue. Applying these ICT solutions to reading, and me for one, I'm not a researcher in education, but I have always thought about how do we ensure that we make books, reading more interactive for young persons, especially those who between the ages of 5 and 17, those still in basic education or senior secondary schools. How do we ensure that some of these contents are not boring? You know what our young people say, all the boring. This education is boring and all those. They will always find alternatives for maybe entertaining videos on social media instead of using whatsoever app or something that is there online already. There are several ebooks, publications, and apps to read books online. But you see that young people are more attracted to maybe TikTok videos, reels on and Instagram. How do you ensure that when they are also on these platforms, they reach out or they get access to other educating contents that may use entertainment or play for such?
Okay, we can also request the influencers, those Facebook influencers, to help. That is to influence reading. Probably they may organize things like quiz or that is online. Okay, let me just take for example, there is this ongoing 2024 e-learning debate.
Yeah.
It's ongoing now. Okay. It's by the federal government in collaboration with Bring It on Africa. So they'll have do something with, they have started registration. 24 states has registered. So they will start in October and end in September. Okay. Their grand finale. Yes. So you see, taking debate online, and this is one of its kind. You find out that many students will want to participate because because it has a gratification, you know.
Exactly.
Yes, they want to participate because they want to gain something at the end of it.
Do.
But if you're telling somebody, yes, read, actually we know that reading is, readers are leaders. But they won't understand it better than if you read and you're able to score so many points here, if you are given a test, that you are going to be given something. So they'll participate more in that. So a typical example that, like I've told you, is the online debate that is coming up now across the country. Okay. So these students, if you actually want to get somebody to do something, you have to make it fun. Make it in such a way that the person will understand it and like it, because it is interest that would help the person develop that zeal to read more. Okay. So if it were in as a classroom teacher, let me bring it down to the classroom. As a classroom teacher, if you want to make reading fun and your students to read, when you come to the classroom, don't just tell somebody who you know that can read very well, now read for us. The person will continue to read every day. The person will be reading. Yes. It should be in such a way that others will read, even if it is one passage that you want them to read for the day. Now, this person read lines 1 and 2. This person read lines 3 and 4. This person reads. So as they participate and as they read, even if the person did not read it very well, appreciate that child. It will make the child to try harder next time to get all the words correctly while reading. So teachers has role to play in that aspect also, making reading fun. And then after reading, those things they have read, can they practicalize it? Okay. Can they show us how it is done? Like there was this passage that has snow in it, you know, talking about snow. You know, this is white man's comprehension passage. Exactly. So as a teacher here, you know that these children are not conversant with snow. So you can have a drawing of it, that is a picture, show them, but now equate it with what we have in our own environment. Like this, what do you call it, these pebbles that fall when you have ice that fall, when you have heavy rain sometime in the year. So if you can even, that is, ask them whether they have had such experience. When it is raining and something is falling on their, that is the ice the blocks. In our own side, it is small. You have it in small pebbles.
Yeah, exactly.
When we are small, we just run out and pick them and lick.
Yes.
You know, too cold. It's just like ice block. So you have to equate it, bring it down to what the children will
Can relate to.
Yes, can relate. I'm not just talking in abstract, because when you say tell them snow falls, they'll know you have said snow falls, but what does it actually mean? They don't understand. So reading and understanding work hand in hand.
Okay.
So.
All right, let's talk about, you're also a parent. Let's talk about the role of parents in this process. We understand the nature of the economy, and most parents now are very busy, very, very busy, that they, I would like call it, lease out their roles to helpers and all those. And you find out that the remaining part that they're supposed to do when these children leave schools, those places seems to be loopholes. How can a parent step in to ensure that the child receives the necessary education, especially in reading and writing, from where the school system leaves off?
The problem we have in education now is that most parents do not buy textbooks for their children. They don't. Teachers in languages, they complain bitterly, because when you have a comprehension passage and then the students don't have the material, what will you do? Will you be reading and they'll be listening? How will they see the words and know the spelling? Because as you are reading, you are just capturing the spelling and the pronunciation of these words. So the students cannot learn very well in that atmosphere. And most parents were happy when the free education of a thing was announced, that at least, and when you tell them to buy food, they tell you that Professor Soludo said that this is free education. So, but Professor Soludo said free education. Is it not your duty to buy textbooks for your children, since the governor has not provided those textbooks? So they will just relax in the area of textbooks when the governor provides textbooks for these children. So we keep telling the parents that free education, you follow it step by step the way it is. Now it is non-payment of school fees. But for textbooks and exercise books that will be used by your ward or your children, you are the people that will provide them. That's it. So if the parents provide textbooks, it will be easier for the teacher in the class to teach that particular comprehension passage, thereby making those students, and in a way of making it be fun, the students will like to read, and even when they get home, they will continue to read. So that is just it.
And even if the government is also providing reading materials, I think parents should play the major role in providing more, because there might be, the government might not actually be able to provide everything that will be needed. So you as a person will need to come in somewhere. Now, still talking about reading, you mentioned something about helping young people, especially if you're a teacher, to maybe read in paragraphs, or everybody being a participant in the process. I also want to highlight this part, because every child's learning process might not be the same. How can you, if you're a teacher in the class and you have, certainly you have different children who have different levels of understanding and levels of comprehension, because some of those things will also encourage them to read. How do you help them to identify, or how do you even identify your students who are slow to learn, and how do you help them to improve on their reading?
We know that students learn better from their peers. So at times the teacher will do a kind of a group work where you assign a particular group this one to read, and you monitor what they are doing. At the end of the day, you find out that the people in a particular group will influence the slow learner greatly in their group. So we have slow learners and we have fast learners. We have that. That is why when you are doing your grouping, you have to add the slow learners you know, then they just mix them up. Slow learners and fast learners, they will be in their different groups where each will sharpen the other. That is how the teacher does it in the classroom. You don't just group people that are very intelligent in one place and then the dullers in one place. No, you mix them so that these people will sharpen the other people.
Okay, I'm still on this. There's been this argument that have continued to happen in the education sector, especially among child development. They will always tell you, there's this argument, at what age do you give a child a gadget? Some will say at a younger age, but provide parents, guardians. Some people will say, don't even talk about it until the child finishes secondary school or something, or primary school. In this ICT age, how can a parent and the teacher navigate the complexities around giving a child a phone?
Well, in our own part, it is prohibited in schools. You don't give children phones while they come to school.
Okay.
Yes. So, but, okay, when we traveled to Singapore, I went to their classroom. The setting was this. Every child in that class has laptop. And then the teacher is there with her own laptop teaching. So you interact with the children. The teacher will even ask questions and they will respond using their laptops. And you will see the answers. The names of the students will be there. Once you give your answer, it will be there on the board. And then the teacher will mark good or bad using his own laptop. It was that digitalized session. And that's exactly what they're trying to do with the smart school that is brought in Isiago here.
Okay, yes.
There's this smart school that will begin in September.
Yes.
So that's the idea. Each one child, one laptop. Then the trained ICT teacher will be there to teach them and coordinate the something. So, but in secondary schools in our own state, because these children, they are not used to this. They just come to the class. Maybe the teacher will just teach computer theoretically.
Yes.
The practical aspect of it is not there. And those people that use it, they customized it in such a way that there are some channels you will not get there.
Okay.
Like porn, you cannot see it in that.
Yes.
And you cannot install it as a child because those laptops are monitored by the school.
Okay.
So if you as a parent decide to give your child a phone, definitely he's going to do something else using that phone. Teachers in my school, for example, we give them assignment, do this assignment at home. Research, use your AI, use your Google, do all these assignments. It is left for the teacher, for the parents. When the child comes home, give the child your phone to do that assignment with, and monitor what he's doing. At the end of that assignment, collect the phone back from the child, because many of them know how to download whatever they want, which the parents do not know.
Exactly.
And you know, the children of these days, there's something else. A woman told us of how the child will, every night the child will just pick her phone and will be using it to doing certain things, and then she now puts lock. She will use her finger to open it. But do you know that one night the child went and, as the woman was sleeping, brought the woman's hand to open the phone. Yeah. And she got up and saw what she wanted to do. So you see, these children can be dubious. So when you want to give a child phone, let it be at home and monitor it. Even if you buy a phone for your child, ensure that the child doesn't go to school with it. But I doubt a child that you buy a phone for and you will not sneak that phone to the school. Yeah. We've had cases of people, children coming to school with phones and we seize them. But do you understand? Do you even know that these days, if you, as a teacher or the principal, seizes a phone that a child came to school with, the parent will come the next day begging you to please release the phone. The parent. So, in fact, I don't know, these children are supposed to, these parents are supposed to know that if you must give a child a phone, you must monitor it. Even after using it for the assignment, collect it from the child and keep until he comes back home just monitor what activities he does with that phone. That's simple. I'm not against parents buying phone for their children,
Yeah, but you must control and
you must
monitor.
control it.
All right, let me ask this question. What would be your advice to government when it comes to this reading culture? While we were speaking, you've mentioned several things that the Anambra State government is doing to advance ICT and reading in Anambra State. What are the things you think can be done more or better to ensure that in Anambra State, for example, and other states that will have to learn, that we get it right in the education sector, especially transforming to digital education?
The governor has already said that he wants to digitalize government schools. That is step one.
Okay.
If he does it, that will be a very welcome development, because it will go a long way to helping the students to learn the processes, the ways to use and interact with other people using the ICT. So, and if the government provides all these things, they should equally provide the security, because the issue of ICT, all these gadgets, modern gadgets, people still go to steal them. So if you provide all these things to the schools and you don't have security to guard them, definitely the hoodlums will still go and carry all of them. And then the benefit the children are supposed to get from those things will be, the aim will be defeated. So many schools don't have security officers. So if the government should provide the gadgets, they should equally help the schools to provide the security. Or the community where those schools are located should equally help to provide the security. There is something on the pipeline now. Some schools will receive science equipment. Science equipment. They will do that this month. Now, if those schools receive such equipment and you don't have security put in place for those equipments in the school, I think it will not go well.
Yes.
But the communities were made to sign agreement that are going to be custodians of those gadgets that are equipment that are, and they wrote a letter to that effect, that they are going to provide the security for it. And many communities are now trying their best to provide such securities. But that notwithstanding, I remember that there was a time the government, we have government security officers that is payrolled by the government. We have drivers payrolled by, we have cooks payrolled by. So, but this time around, it's just the school, the community that will do that. But for this particular era of digitalizing schools, I suggest that security officers, even if it is one to each school, should be posted so that they will be there with the help of the ones recruited by the school or something like that, to at least hold the security tight in every school, so that those gadgets that will be provided will not be stolen.
Okay. Finally, I cannot have you here without asking this question. Recently, the Minister of Education was talking about not entering school before 18 and not writing WAEC by 18 and all those. What's your take on it? Do you think that approach to education will work?
I think that one has been concluded. That because he wants us to go back to what it was years back, when you put your hand like this and touch your ear before you start school. But this era is no longer like that. And it may not work properly, because there are these intelligent people, because of this ICT we're talking about. There are students that is from home, they're already equipped with this knowledge, and they can move on with their education even before that age 18. So such students will not be disturbed now. They'll have to allow them, move.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Principal Amaka, and for the Diamond Principal. I'm always happy whenever I have you here talking about education and what we can do to improve our education sector in Anambra State and in Nigeria in general. Diamond Principal is an award-winning principal. He has taken our students across the group on debate and different other competitions where they came back not just imagining the first 10, but being the best across the globe. And the last time she was in Malaysia with our students, she's been to Singapore and on different platforms, taking our students and training them on how to emerge the best on different international competitions. She's also a principal here in Anambra State. She is the principal of Capital City Secondary School here in Oka, where she's applying what she's talking to us already. Thank you very much for having you here on the program.
Thank you. Thank you
I'm
very
expecting
much.
that any time we call you, that you also be available for us.
Sure. Right. Anytime I'm called upon, I'll be here because we are just trying to share experiences
exactly.
and then interact with our audience. They'll hear us. They'll add to what we have said. So,
yes.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Principal Amaka. Well, let's now take you over to our breakfast news studio for breakfast news at 8.